Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Realm News. I am your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. And today, I have a familiar guest back, and you all know them by my brother and the artist of Realm News, the person who makes the amazing illustrations for the show. We'll get into that in a moment, but I want you to welcome back onto the show Sam Howard, aka the Sun King. Welcome back, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back, man.
I'm glad to have you back. It's nice to have you on Realm News and to pick your brain again because last time you came onto the show, we had a discussion over artificial intelligence in that Oasis AI generated video game
Yeah.
Minecraft mock-up.
Yes.
Whatever that we everybody knows our general consensus on that. We don't need to
Yeah.
get back into that. But how you been?
I'm good. I'm good. Winters hasn't been too bad. Not to date the episode, but it's a little rainy out today. Um, Excited to be back.
Yeah, it's rainy here too. I think we're about to get a blizzard, and I imagine that's probably blowing in from Colorado from where you're at. I think that's coming towards us right now.
Yep,
So
probably coming
thanks.
in. Yep. Hey, no problem.
Well, bro, I we're going to talk. This is going to be kind of a melange of an episode, and you kind of came up with the general theme of it, but I went ahead and added a little bit more to what we're going to discuss today. I wanted to start off with getting into the art, the illustrations, the inspirations behind that, and that you do for this show because a lot of people love how your illustrations. And then I want to transition into kind of the madness as I see it that Notch, aka, or I mean Marcus Person, aka Notch, has been posting today, even within the past 48 hours, well, 24 hours, let's just say, or 48. He's been posting quite a bit, and I sent you a few of those tweets to you to look over yesterday. And after we talk about that, I want to get into the main bulk of the show of the biomes and what you would like to see or our opinions on what we would like to see improved there, such as mobs, what biomes are lacking. I have some questions on like what your favorite biomes are, and just a bunch of questions in that arena right there. So we have a lot to cover today.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I saw an article on Sportskeeda. Um, .com where kind of they were going down what they would like to see in biomes and stuff, and I thought that was a cool idea for us to discuss. Um, and Just for the listeners, we're not game developers, we're not experts. This is just stuff that dream list of things that we would want to see
Yeah,
for
just our
improvements and
personal
stuff.
opinions. We aren't experts on anything but giving our own
Anything,
opinions.
yeah, 100%.
No, I want to, as I said, start this off with more directed towards you. You being the artist of Realm News, and you've produced. Let me think here. I believe 5 illustrations so far for Realm
Yeah,
News,
think
and
five. Yeah.
I kind of want to just go over the last two that or what just the last two that you've really produced because we've kind of covered the others. I don't know if we ever really talked about the Wandering Trader. I know that when your first appearances on the show, you kind of we specifically talked about art and your art,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you'd produced Wandering Trader, but you have a theme going here. There's a color
Yes.
scheme I see you've developed. You have characters. You have the Dark Lord. Obviously, I use that for my logo for the show. You
Yeah.
have you have the Wandering Trader. You have the 4th of July illustration. You had made
Yes.
me a Realm News Flash, and then you've made the Sun King who represents your fictional character in your world and is your logo. Let's start off. Um, where do you draw your inspiration? Tell me about these art pieces.
So what I was trying to do with your podcast specifically was try and lean into the basic premise of your show, which is to put the real in realm. So it's sort of a anachronistic mix of like fine art, sort of classical posing with human characters, and then mixing that with the blocky, pixelated, like 2D Minecraft aesthetic. Because much like your past guest and Minecraft painting artist, um, he uses that tension between like pixelated
Christopher
art.
Zetterstrand, correct?
Zetterstrand, yes.
Yes, Christopher
Uh,
Zetterstrand.
yeah. Listen to that episode, everybody. Great episode.
Super
But
awesome episode.
yeah, he speaks of that tension. Um, and even before you had him as a guest, that was something that I was trying to capture too, with just the aesthetic was, bringing history and historical aspects into the game of Minecraft. So using that sort of tension between real figures and
And that was
classical
before
posing.
you even knew who Christopher Zetterstrand was.
Yes, it's one of those instances of dual inspiration, kind of, where I think we both hit on the same idea. He obviously hit him before me, but it was something that came to me just with the content of what your show is.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to capture that with the illustrations. It also helps me to pull from real fine art pieces in the world and like historical pieces, and then just add that Minecraft spin of putting in the characters, the blocky characters, and things like that.
Yeah,
I
please.
also,
No, go ahead. Sorry. Go
oh
ahead.
yeah, no, I also just think, with your theory of the builders, or maybe not your theory, but the theory of builders and us as player characters in the world of Minecraft being more powerful than mobs or like villagers. Uh, in this, the idea of the illustrations that I've done and the covers that I've done for your episodes have been, the builders are more human like, and then we add in the
Mhm.
Minecraft figures, and I think that kind of um, demonstrates the sort of like, as a player character, you're different. You're able to do different things in the game than a mob or a villager can do. So that's why you have a lot more human figures and realistic posing and shading and things like that.
I do love the juxtaposition you have between the more realistic, the realist approach with the character of the Dark Lord, the builders, as you were saying, and then the Minecraft content. I love that contrast. Can you go through and just briefly talk about each piece's inspiration that you because you got these were all drawn from real world art pieces, right?
Yeah. With the original, with what the cover is for most of the Realm News episodes, that was a Francisco de Goya piece. Um, I'm struggling with the name right now, but it was a illustration piece he did for a book, and it was in black and white. And it's called "The Sleep of Reason Produces Monsters." And in the original piece, it's a similar posing of a man sleeping on a desk, but behind him are all these dreamlike giant owls and different creatures that are sort of plaguing him. And so, with the classic Realm News cover, I went with the sleeping podcaster, um, but behind him, he's plagued by the mobs from the Minecraft game. So, and that even fits into what the stock logo is for your show, which is this very medieval uh, sort of script font design for the realm, and then news underneath it is a little more modern looking and
Yeah,
a
I
little
love
more
that.
typical of what you'd see. So I wanted it even down to the logo to be the juxtaposition is a good word of classical idea with a little modern twist. That is Minecraft. So that's the first piece is based off of Francisco de Goya, and I call it "The Sleep of Reason Produces Minecraft." And then with the Wandering Trader, that was from a really well-known book that I am familiar with. I haven't read, but it's called Pilgrim's Progress,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure who the illustrator was on because it's been illustrated many times and in different ways. Um,
Interesting.
but this was a piece I found of someone illustrating that, and that's where a lot of the inspiration came from. Um, and it sort of depicts uh, medievalish village with villagers looking on, not too happy, and probably a wizened villager in front, sort of exiling the wandering trader from the village.
Yeah, I love how that one gentleman has his finger sternly pointing him out town.
Yeah, you have to go.
Yeah.
This piece I hadn't really settled on a name for. It has been popular with people.
It
I
was
don't know.
very popular.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's just familiarity with Pilgrim's Progress.
Or
But
the
yeah,
intrigue with the wandering trader as well. I know he's a disputed character
he
and
is a
hated.
disputed character and hated. Yeah, largely hated. Maybe unnecessarily so. but
Perhaps.
yeah, there's that tension of just the villagers sending him on his way. Um,
And
and
the colors are great as well. The color
thank you. Yeah, it's
scheme you have.
again just trying to do like pixelated form of the Minecraft characters, which honestly I struggle with the most as an artist. I like drawing organic forms better, like the more realistic villagers. Um, but I think it works, and it's pretty. I'm happy with it. I think it's pretty cool. But it's got the llama. It's got the wandering trader wandering off to the next village or whatever his fate shall be.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Who
people really
knows?
like that. Um,
And what was the next one? It was 4th of July.
4th of July, yeah, and that's uh, a uh, oil painting, I believe, but it's pretty classic, at least to American listeners. It'll be very familiar of the writing of the Star Spangled Banner
Yeah.
and where he's staring off at the American flag. There wasn't fireworks in that one, but it was a pretty busy piece, and so for that's where I drew inspiration for the human character is on a ship holding on to the ropes of the ship, sort of looking off to a distant shore, where instead of the American flag, we have a creeper flag in a more stylized and pixelated landscape, and then fireworks. And I used the Minecraft pixelated firework aesthetic, and those are sort of going off. And then on the ship, instead of other human like characters, we have Minecraft villagers, three
I,
of them sort of standing around.
I would have to say that's probably your most Minecraft themed or elemented illustration, like as opposed to like real, like the real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Even
agree.
the boat looks Minecraft almost in a way.
I agree. And you can kind of see over it. I've been trying different ideas and how many Minecraft characters should be brought in to bring that sort of tension into the piece. Um,
Hmm.
and
I've seen you settle with, you're starting to go with like a one item type element.
yeah, with our characters and with your newsflash cover, um, I kind of wanted to pare it down and make it more simple, um, to really build that tension more rather than to make it a busier piece. Um, Not to say that the busier pieces aren't good. It's just I think the tension gets across better when you have, like, for example, the newsflash piece. Um, I've titled "Alas, Poor Mob," and that's based off of Hamlet with that classic pose that's been mimicked, but also just incredibly popular, of Hamlet holding Yorick's skull and sort of lamenting to that. But in this, I have you, the Dark Lord, holding a skeleton mob's head, sort of in that classic pose. And that's based off of a photograph of an actor in the play Hamlet
Oh
from
wow,
very, or like the 1920s.
that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, that I found on Google Images. And for all those aspiring artists, Google Images is so helpful for
No,
finding.
that's super interesting. I didn't know you got that from a real image of an actor.
Yeah, and that's kind of where like the big sleeves come, and that sort of more theatrical um, dressing comes from. On the Dark Lord is that uh, interpretation of Shakespeare's time through the lens of like a 1920s actor, or early 19th century actor. Um, but I really like the tension there. The pose is very classical. It's, I think, instantly recognizable to everyone because Shakespeare's just so popular worldwide, um,
Yeah.
that people inherently get that. That someone talking to the skull, is so classically shorthand for Shakespeare because that's just such a popular image of Hamlet talking to York skull.
No,
So
I do love how you have the skull as a Minecraft skeleton skull. That's when you first sent me that illustration, I was like, wow, that was brilliant.
thank you.
That was a great idea, just incorporating
Thank
that
you. Yeah, I had
one
a lot of different
item.
ideas for that. And if you, not to plug myself, but if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, I put up a process video of me drawing that um, illustration.
Yeah,
And you
go
can
check
kind
it
of
out.
see, yeah, definitely check it out. Give me a like, give me a follow.
Yeah, follow him on Blue Sky. I was going to plug you in as well. I'm glad you did. So yeah, go follow him at Blue Sky, and those videos are cool. I want to see more of them.
I'm going to post more process videos. And one of the pieces that I did for my character, the Sun King, I'll post that, and you can see that that started wildly different from what it ended up as. Um, and that took me a while to dial in. This one, once I settled on the idea, because that's sometimes an idea hits you and it's almost fully formed, and you just have to do it. And then other times you have to play around a lot until you figure it out. That's sort of the beauty of art. I know I've talked on here before, but it's a puzzle that you make up and you kind of get to solve. Um, and so, yeah, I like the idea with these last two character illustrations that I've done for you and I, of the sort of central figure in a more classical pose. In this instance of the Dark Lord, it's contrapposto, and in my, with the one leg forward, and sort of just playing with those classic proportions and things. Um, and then there's the one element of Minecraft, and that kind of hammers home that this is a little bit different of a podcast with the tension between historical influence, and we're also talking about a modern game.
Yeah, I do
Um,
love how you do a good job. Why is it that's harder to draw or illustrate the Minecraft blockiness? I would think it'd be the opposite.
that's a lot of people tell me that,
Honestly,
especially.
you would think I'm not an artist, so to me, I would think it'd be the easiest part would be drawing squares.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, and maybe that's just my uh, different focuses as an artist. That it's easier to draw organic forms, but I find drawing looser and having less rigid ideas, because Minecraft characters are all really popular and really well designed and
Hmm.
simple. Um, so getting that right, you have to get the colors right. You have to get the, like with the skeleton head, their nose and eyes are really low. Um, they're really drawn out in a specific grid. There's not a whole lot of that I'm able to play with when I draw that. So it's a little
No
more
expressions either.
no expressions, which is fine for what we want because the expression comes from the figure, the
Yeah.
human like figure. Um, and that creates that tension is that then you have these sort of expressionless, you know, Minecraft mobs or villagers. And it's a little more, it's less imaginative for me to do. And so that makes it uh, a little more difficult just to like, okay, I know that this is the pose, and then I gotta set the pose, next to the human like figure and not make it seem like the Minecraft character is like just floating in the area or just around the area. Um, and I know that there's, since Minecraft's been around so long, there's plenty of artists who maybe started out just drawing Minecraft characters. And so
Mhm.
they are more natural when they're like, yeah, I could draw Steve in any position I want. But that's just difficult for me because I'm more used to drawing figure drawing and drawing from life. Um, so
I
that's
could
kind of
s- I could see how that'd be hard.
yeah. So I like organic things, nature and like people. And if you do enough life drawing, which I really encourage for any artist, that's gonna help you so much. And it might seem frustrating at first and a waste of time, but being able to draw something from your eye is really valuable to have in your toolkit. Just so it's it's a time saver. You can say, I want to draw a telephone, and then you can just look at a picture of a telephone and then draw that by eye is really useful, rather than having to like think of proportions of it or like trying to get perspective on it. Although that helps, um, but yeah, to me, being able to learn proportions of a person and being able to draw that is really valuable, I find, and especially if you want to draw a multitude of different things. Um, but yeah, so I kind of settled on the central figure in these more classical, I suppose you'd say, Renaissance, post Renaissance poses, uh, where artists really dialed into what makes dynamic figures. And so that carried over into the Sun King too.
Yeah, I love the
Um,
Sun King.
Thank you. I'm really happy with it
And
too. And
you
what
were explaining to me a little bit about the Sun King, which was fascinating, and I'm sure you're going to get into here in a second. But you were inspired by several pieces of work, weren't you?
Yes. And because I sent you sketches before this piece
Hmm.
came together, it was going to be wildly different. It was going to be a king sitting on his
Drastically.
throne. Yes. I wanted to do the ad locutio pose, that you can see in a lot of depictions of Jesus and Marcus Aurelius. And it's really a Roman sort of pose, but it's
After
like,
you said that, I can see that now. And after you told me Marcus Aurelius, I can see that.
yeah, there's a lot of statues, and that's what that piece is based on, different statues. The Ad Locutio pose with the Sun King's right arm is from Marcus Aurelius, and then the rest of the pose is from a really beautiful statue of Jesus, and I'm not sure its name. It's in a museum though, and I found a few pictures of that. But he has his leg up as he's walking, and in the statue he has kind of both hands down in a more
Interesting.
benevolent and sort of classic thing, pose for Jesus. But in this one, I like the robes were a little bit more Roman.
Yeah,
The
very Roman looking.
yeah, and the forked beard is very Roman and sort of depicts a lot of their ideas of the gods at the time, kind of Poseidon esque maybe. And I wanted the long flowing hair, and he's the Sun King, so I wanted it to be a little bit more breezy than the Dark Lord. So that's why you just have the one robe sort of draping on his body.
And you decide to not color the Sun King. Makes him very statue in
Yes,
appearance to me.
yes, and I played with that a lot, but ultimately settled on the no color for him because I did a lot of work with a dry brush ink and just sort of shading the figure, and I found that the color um, sort of flattened it and took away from the shading work that I had done. So I wanted to keep that there, and then again, just drawing from the eye. So drawing drapery. And folds in clothing and things really help sell the idea of depth because a character could appear very flat, but the wrinkles sort of sell the idea that he's stepping forward with one leg. Um, and then the crown is a really simple crown that I sort of designed. I couldn't find one that wasn't too busy, but I in my mind I was like to have too regal of a crown or too busy of a crown would take away from the aesthetic of he's in a robe. It's the Sun King.
No, I like
Uh,
the crown. I like the simplicity of it.
yeah,
It looks good. It looks good.
yeah, it sells it. And then I have in his left hand the classic Minecraft diamond sword.
Yeah, you did a great job with that.
Thank you. That was kind of a pain, but
I bet it was, and you have it like with the hand wrapped around it and everything. That looks good.
thank you. Yeah, that took a while for me to actually draw the sword. Just like I said, the pixelated stuff I'm not great at, but I was super happy with how that came out. The color scheme of the sword is exact from still from the game, so I know the color scheme's accurate.
The color
And then
scheme is amazing here. It's drastically different than the Dark Lord color scheme. You got orange, green, yellow, blue.
yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted. Was that the Dark Lord's color scheme has been set pretty well from the first illustration I did, the Francisco de Goya
It's
inspired
perfect.
piece.
I love that color scheme. The burnt orange and blues.
Yeah, and that's I wanted to keep those separated. I want them to be distinct. I want the Dark Lord to look like the Dark Lord and to have his particular color scheme and aesthetic. And so it took me a while to settle on colors for this, but I really settled on a green I'm really happy with. The hue is from old comic printing. It's something you can get when you mix several different dots together. But I just took the flat color because that also is just become typical of the illustration pieces for your podcast, and I didn't want to stray too far from what that idea is because I would encourage that too for young artists. Like when you're working on a project, you want to set limitations on yourself and kind of work establish rules for yourself, and sort of work within those rules. Um, you don't have to at first, but to settle on that really makes other pieces or things that you're working on in a series stronger, makes the theme stronger. Um,
You
so
do have a
yes,
nice coherent theme going.
thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with it, and I think it can be used in a lot of different ways going forward too, and still keep that same thematic style of realm news. Uh,
Which you said going forward, I kind of want to talk about your upcoming illustration, which I don't even know what it's going to be about, but I have an idea. It's going to be on the illustration of my novelette,
yeah, I was like, if you
Torvingi
want to
in the
talk about
village of
that,
Torvingi in the village of Alp. Look, which will be coming out sometime. I'm not quite sure, but you're designing the book cover to that, and I'm super interested to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a really great
Thank
story.
you.
It fits the same thing that you've been going. It fits those classical themes of like the Decameron from Italy, which is an old book about a group of pilgrims sort of telling each other morality stories to pass the time, and you kind of have a lot of that influence in it, where in the framing device is people telling each other a story. Um, so
I like that you point that out because I wasn't even aware. I'm not the type of
yeah,
person that is familiar with literary devices or or anything. This is my first like my first novelette that will be a trilogy. It's part of a trilogy, but so I'm relatively I stumbled into that, I
you
guess.
did. It's a great framing device, and it works really well for the story. It's very atmospheric and really cool. Um, and it gave me a lot of ideas for a book cover even before you asked me to provide one. I've been working on the logo for that because I want it to be a little bit more unique than the Realm News one, but I want it to still follow that thematic thread of like that mix of sort of old school with new school, since it's that's
Yeah.
also kind of the line that Minecraft walks, where it's medieval game, but it's very pixelated. So it's going to be in a similar theme as the rest of the pieces that I've done for you. Um, but it's yeah, I had a strong idea right from the beginning, and it's going to be really cool. I just need to dial in what the title font and that logo is going to look like. And especially since it's going to be a 3 book series, I kind of want that to be malleable. So
Yes.
you so
That's a great
you know
idea.
the title
No,
can change a little, but it's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be a classic, and it's gonna be what a lot of people associate with Realm News as far as art style, um, and with the colors, and it's the Dark Lord is gonna be featured on the cover because he is a character, so there's gonna be that uh,
yeah, I love how you're
similar color
breathing
scheme.
life. I love how you're breathing life into the Dark Lord. Like it
Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah,
the images help me write the character.
that's good, and that's what I wanted to do was give you a template of what the Dark Lord looks like, and sort of inquisitive and wreathed in shadow. Um, I think really fits the aesthetic that you're going for, and you know more than a passive observer, and that's what I was getting across with the Newsflash logo was or cover was fascination with this world. Um, but also sort of a participant in it. So I'm glad that that could help influence your writing. I like the story; it's really strong. You all will like it too, so pick it up when it comes out.
Yes, please do. It's I'm editing it again this weekend after we get done recording and yeah, I am thank you. I'm glad you like this story. I really appreciate your thoughts on that. They mean a lot,
Yeah,
bro.
of course, man, of
And I
course.
look
Yeah, I'm
forward to the
excited.
cover. I can't wait to see the cover to it because I want to see what Torvingi looks like. I can't
Yes,
wait. I can't wait to see Torvingi.
yes. Torvingi. Not to spoil it too hard, but Torvingi is since he is taken on a life of his own. It seems in this story is going to be based on the modern trader, but is going to be more of the uh,
Human
human
form.
looking figure,
That's
just
why I'm
because
interested.
yeah, he has a little more agency, but you'll see familiar elements from his clothing and dress. I'm just gonna try and bring that into the real world, bring the realm to the real, like you do,
I love it.
or the real to the realm. Sorry, and so yeah, Torvingi's gonna be you'll get a look at him on the cover, um, in conversation with the Dark Lord, and it's gonna hopefully fit the mood that you set in the novelette, which is very uh, distinct
In
and I think
a
really cool.
blizzardy night.
Yeah, two people are passing a blizzard, yeah, a wintry night in a blizzard by telling each other tales, and
Yes.
So Torvingi's going to be definitely a character in that, with the Dark Lord
Who would have
and the
known that you would have that you would design two versions of the Wandering Trader?
right. Yeah, let's see how it turns out.
Hey,
I have a lot of
worked.
strong ideas for him. I'm excited to kind of dive in and give it a shot and see if we can't make a notable Torvingi that people will fall in love with. But
I
I fell in love with the character just reading the first few drafts. So
I did too. I don't even know where he came from in my brain. I like him. He's goofy. Um, he's
he's kind of a silly guy. Yeah.
yeah. He's I don't even know where we're going to see a lot more Torvingi in the Realm News universe. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, he's a great character. He's a really strong character, and he has an interesting backstory that I'm curious myself what it's going to be. But we'll
You
find
will
out as the
see.
yeah as the trilogy progresses.
And I will be releasing chapter 1 to a select few. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I do want to get some feedback for the
Yeah,
novelette. So before I publish it,
maybe to the
and
subscribers, it's
exactly, I think
coffee,
I'll
isn't it? Yeah,
Ko-fi. Yep, and I'm setting up a Patreon. So I think it probably will be a subscriber or a pay to read this a certain amount. Like
yeah,
10 people.
absolutely. And I've checked out the Realm News newsletter, and it's well worth it for fans of the game or of history or of art
Thank you.
or especially fans of Realm News.
It's
Like,
a simple newsletter, but I just put it to 99 cents a month. Yeah, I release them free when the episode comes out to the
nice.
public,
Hmm.
but if you want to get the newsletter before anyone else, which is like 3 weeks, 4 weeks out, a month ahead of everyone, then it's only 99 cents a month. So, I think that's not a bad deal.
No, that's a steal. And it gets you all that extra content and it'll get you a
Heck
look at
yeah.
the Torvingi in the village of
Torvingi.
Alp.
Yes. And
It's a,
so enough of promotion. um,
yes, enough.
and I want to move on to the next segment, which is it's a little crazy. And this is kind of new to you, brother. And
Yes.
this is something I've struggled with as a podcaster. I wanted to ask to get Marcus Person on the show, aka Notch, the creator of Minecraft, right? And
Yeah, a bit of a
um,
contentious figure.
yes, that's a perfect word. He's controversial. That's why I haven't, and I did indirectly ask him if he wanted to come to Realm News, and I'll just say this now. Hey, Notch, if you're listening, or Marcus Person, if you're listening, you're more welcome to come to Realm News. I'd love to hear what's going on with you and talk to you about Minecraft and what's going on in your life. So you're more welcome to come to the show. And this isn't a bash against Notch. It's just I want to talk about his recent tweets.
Yes.
They're a
Uh,
little crazy, and or to me, I'll just they're a little odd. Um, I let me just read them. Okay, how about that, bro?
okay.
I sent you 3 of them, and I'll just kind
Yes,
of
I have him. I have him here.
yeah, you have them there. And then he has a few that he put out there today, which are a little bit off the wall. So he posted, this was on January 1st, the beginning of the year, 2025 at 12:25 p.m. He said, quote, honest and legitimate request for feedback for once. The new game I'm passionately working on is currently set to be a traditional roguelike, i.e., Adom, Nethak, etc., mixed with a tile-based first-person dungeon crawler, i.e., Legend of Grimrock, especially number 2, Eye of the Beholder. These are things I'm not familiar with, folks. I'm just breaking away to say that.
Yeah.
To continue on, he says, but then I got to thinking that maybe there are people who like my work but might not share my taste in retro nostalgia and would prefer for me to make a spiritual successor thing to Minecraft. And I mean, sure, I'd take that cash. So market research, I'd be happy to oblige either. Which one would make you happier? He's not the best writer. End quote. Um, and then he puts a poll and two options on the poll. First one, make Minecraft 2, boomer. Second option, I love uncursing potions. I guess I'm not quite sure what that means. But and the last time that I saw this, which was yesterday, 73.1% of people said that they wanted a Minecraft 2. 26% said, I love uncursing potions, whatever that means. And then Notch has a follow up the next 2 days later on January 3rd, 11 a.m. And he says, 100% serious about all that, by the way. And there you go. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that for a second before we move on to what he posted today. What do you
Yeah.
think, bro, about all that?
Um, Minecraft 2 is an exciting idea. I also
Is
just want
it?
to say that a lot of opinions that Notch has, I seriously oppose.
Same. Same. We don't
He,
represent his ideas
we
or
certainly
values
do not,
on Realm News.
and I feel confident speaking on behalf of the Dark Lord too for Realm News. We do not share a lot of his opinions, especially his hateful ones. The world is a pretty angry place already, and it's completely unnecessary to be
Be like that.
to be like that. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
necessary, and especially for someone who is a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire.
Billionaire, 2.5
Yeah, I
billion,
just
something like that.
it's unnecessary, and it's the hateful opinions aside, I certainly don't agree with, and I know Realm News doesn't either.
No,
But in relation to those tweets, uh, which I understand he doesn't own Minecraft anymore, right?
not at all. That's how he became a billionaire.
Yeah, so
He
he would.
sold out to Microsoft and they parted after his series of very multi-phobic tweets throughout the years on Twitter and whatnot. Microsoft pretty much, for PR purposes,
Well, and
got rid of
rightfully
him.
so.
They removed his name from. He's still on the credits, like in the
Sure,
credit when it rolls, but it used to be in the what would you say, the home banner, like when you open up the game.
sure.
I think it used to say "Made by Notch" or something like that, and they removed that after 10 years. After I read this, they cut ties with him completely, quit inviting him to the Minecon events and whatnot, the live events, after Microsoft owned the game longer than he did. They said we officially put more work pretty much into it than so it's more hours than his. We take the
Yeah,
credit now,
but
which
and
makes sense. They did
sure,
more improvements to it.
rightfully so, and that's yeah again hateful ideas and sort of bigotry like those should be condemned, and he shouldn't be
But
you
what do you
know
think of Minecraft
praised for that.
2, this pitch that came out of the blue? And now it looks like an overwhelming amount of people, according to this rudimentary poll,
I
it,
think
it's biased because you know that most of them are his fans,
certainly. I
but
think that
133,000 votes here saying, yeah, make it. What do you think? What would that even be like because of
well that's
IP, intellectual property rights? You can't copy the exact same thing. And he says spiritual successor. What do you make of all that?
well at first when you told me about this and sent those tweets yesterday, I was excited. I was like, a Minecraft 2 would be cool. But then now that I think about it, and just the IP, he doesn't have the rights to it anymore. So it would have to be vastly different than what Minecraft is now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, he's vague on what ideas he would bring that would warrant a sequel. Minecraft is ever evolving and updating, and Microsoft is adding new things constantly to the game and new biomes and things. And it sort of ties into what we're going to talk about a little later. And what we're discussing isn't a Minecraft 2, it's just things that we think would improve Minecraft now. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what would be so wildly different that he could develop that would warrant a Minecraft 2. You know what I
This
mean?
is I read through the comments and I didn't send you everything, but it kind of elaborates about it being more a sandbox world, but it being more lore. Um, why can I word things today? It having much more lore in it that you
Okay.
discover and unlock pieces as you progress in the world. It's more objective based, I suppose,
Okay. And that's
which is
fine.
interesting.
Yeah. But, and I
But
would also say is not a unique idea. Anyone that's familiar with From Software games, um, like Bloodborne, Dark Souls series, um, they know that FromSoft has been doing that for, I mean, well over a decade now. And those games are amazing. They're really unique, and you can completely ignore that there's this story, or you can try really hard to piece together what the story is. In fact, there's hours long YouTube videos sort of trying to explain the
yeah,
stories of what happened in those games, and they're kind of, you know, the top in that field. I would say their last game that they put out, and I'm the same as you today, bro. I can't hardly think of anything,
I think it's
but
Saturday. It's cloudy out.
yeah,
It's
it's the weekend.
it's the
Um,
weekend. We're foggy brain
we're
today. It's
foggy
okay.
brained, but
Also, drinking my first cup of coffee.
yeah, but but their latest game that they came out with, they had George R. R. Martin from Game of Thrones. He wrote the lore of that world, and it's the same as most From Software games, where you can completely not catch most of the lore and just sort of engage with the gameplay and how much fun that is, or you can really hunt hard and try and figure out what the story is that happened. It's
And
completely
that's
optional.
something I saw too. Like he goes, maybe if we get a good enough writer to for lore building, we'll get this going. And somebody's like, hires a random person from Twitter, and I was like, yeah, do something. I was like, okay,
I mean,
bro,
you could
this is
try that.
okay, Sam. This is my thing here, okay, and I'm looking at. This is what I'm seeing here. Before I get into the other comments or posts that he made today, I'm not
Yep.
going to get into the vulgar ones. It's just, actually, I may not even get into those, honestly.
Sure.
But yeah, because we have more important things to talk about. But
Sure.
this, okay, this line here, this is what I want to read from this first post. Um, well, I guess this paragraph. But then I got to thinking that maybe there are people who like my work, but might not share my taste in retro nostalgia and would prefer for me to make a spiritual successor thing to Minecraft. And this is what gets me. And I mean, sure, I'd take that cash. Why do you need more
Yeah,
cash? Why
dude,
are you just
stop.
making a game because uh, I know that I'm pretty sure he's been working on little side projects, but from what I've read and I've seen some well put together YouTube videos over kind of this tragic figure of a person that got this amazing game going, right? Pretty
Right.
much, and you got to give him credit where credit's due. He's the person that created Minecraft. A lot of
Certainly.
people
Yeah.
can argue that Mojang is the one that really got the game going after he left. And that could be true. I mean,
Sure.
I love what they're doing. Who knows what it became like? But what what's what's going on here is he gets all this money from Microsoft and it just feels like there's this bored billionaire
Yeah.
man,
Bored
rich
billionaire kid.
rich
Yeah.
man that doesn't know what to do, that has no goal in life. Like
Yeah.
and just is yearning for an objective or like because like if you come to think about it, if you have no friction in your life there's no point. Like there's
Yeah. If you're not
kind of
constantly working on a project, yeah.
yeah, I mean you have to come up with your own goals and whatnot, and I feel like this is just a goalless person and it really screams that to me in his following posts. Like
Absolutely.
let
That's
me
a
read
yeah.
this, please. Let me read this real quick. Let me
Sure.
pull it up because this is ridiculous. It's just, where is it? So today, 8 hours ago, quote, so I'm doing this experiment where I try to be as honest with myself as I can and openly invite people into joining in on the fun. The terms are basically if they really truly feel like something is true after thinking about it while truly feeling. Anyways, it's just about
Huh.
him, like, and then he's spouting off random stuff like, um,
Personal things.
personal things in his life, just trying to get reactions and I don't get what's going on. I don't even take this Minecraft 2 thing seriously. I think it's more of just a
No,
bored person trying to
that's what
get a reaction.
that's a really good point, man, and I agree with that 100%. I also just think of the worst type of like cringy, uh, quote unquote comedy where people are just trying to be reactionary, just trying to say
That's
something
it.
they
A
think is
reactionist.
inappropriate, and then like, ha ha ha, isn't that fun?
I
But I
think
could
that's
tell
what he
you,
does.
but I could tell you right now, from any perspective that you could imagine, it's not artful or funny in any way because there's people that do it professionally and better. They're stand-up comedians. They talk about the best stand-up comedians we know talk about you know, failures in their lives or really personal things, and they're able to actually turn that into entertaining and amusing things, and they're able to get reactions from people in a constructed way that's not like, hey, I said something inappropriate, how about that, like that's not, to me it's not comedy, it's not very funny. It's just exactly what you're saying. It's like a bored little kid, and he just happens to have an audience. And I think that's just what he's attempting to do.
I do too. I don't
Um,
even think he's serious about Minecraft 2 because honestly, it wouldn't succeed. There's a community that's been built around 15 years. 15 years.
yes.
Million I don't even know how millions of hours of YouTube content created around it. Heck, podcasts being made such as this around it. There's a whole
Oh my
culture
God.
that
Yes.
can't be just duplicated. And I'm sorry, he doesn't have the team either.
He
Like
doesn't.
he doesn't have the people to give that essence of the video game,
Well,
especially with the persona that he exhibits.
oh, absolutely. And I'll say this too. Uh, Crafting games are their own genre now. They're based on Minecraft, but what can he do that'll separate, for example, uh, the crafting elements of Fortnite, or like Pal World was a recent one where it's kind of like Pokemon and crafting and monster hunting. Like games have developed off of Minecraft and use the ideas of like crafting, um, and survival elements and lore building. There's one that's Norse themed survival crafting building games, and they're coming out all the time. They're coming out with amazing modern graphics.
Mhm.
Um, Minecraft is still the retro king of that, but
Well,
like, what
it's
new elements can he provide? The
it,
lore thing is thin to me. Like,
well,
sure.
also, bro, there's I've seen this as well through the feeds. There's two games that are coming out as competitors to Minecraft, and one those are called Reforge and Hytale. And
Oh yeah.
so there's already games that have been well in development stages, beta testing, and are about to release. And so for somebody, I don't even care if it's the original founder of Minecraft comes out and I don't care if he's a billionaire.
No.
It's you can't duplicate it. Money can't make something good. You have to have you have to have an ethos to make it. Like you have to have
Agreed.
something, a certain element that can't be achieved through money.
100%. I mean, I played really amazing RPGs where the story is so compelling that I've played it over and over again.
Yeah, you've
The
played Red Dead Redemption how many times?
Oh my, yeah, I love it. So it's a gorgeous game, and the
It
amount
is
of
gorgeous.
of animations and like unique character animations and just the talent on display is amazing in such a handcrafted world. But even like The Witcher 3, that story alone, where the gameplay sort of lacks, I'm compelled by the characters and the
Mhm.
story, and as he says, the lore, which, I think is about as he's using it more as a buzzword for, wouldn't you like more definitive story in Minecraft? Like, not, I mean, not
He
really.
doesn't know how to separate it. He
Well,
does coming up. Oh, and if we can get a good writer, he can't even do the writing himself for the lore. It's just he's a code. I think just strictly
yeah, he's a,
mechanical,
which, and he had the brilliant idea of
which is
Minecraft.
fine.
Yeah, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, or not wanting to develop
I can just see that there's
storytelling
no
ideas.
passion behind this proposed project that he threw out at the beginning of the new year.
Oh,
It's
100%.
to
Yeah,
me to
that's
make
such a
way.
good point.
It's just a way to make waves. It's just like you said to cause a reaction,
Yeah, it's reaction.
which
Yeah.
obviously worked because we're talking about right now.
Hey, I mean, what are you gonna do? But I'll
It's
say this
news.
too. Your podcast included, the lack of definitive lore. We'll use that word that I think he's using as a buzzword in Minecraft leads to all sorts of fun speculation and cool. Like the mechanics are so unique and they're so specific that it has created this entire community of people like trying to figure out, well, why do skeletons ride spiders?
Yeah.
A villager gets struck by lightning and turns into a witch. Why is that? How is that? The end, the nether, piglins, zombies, like mushrooms. That we get to fill in all those gaps, and it makes the blend of this open world survival crafting game uh, it's so much richer because we kind of get to fill it in. It is specific enough to where
Mhm.
it's not aimless or pointless, but it's vague enough to where we get to do the mental work. It's like a lot of great writers or artists. I'm specifically talking about probably comic book artists, but like simplicity, leaving a lot of that open space. When you're writing something, instead of a paragraph, see if you can get it down to a line. That
Mhm.
line is going to be so much more effective for the reader filling in the gaps. And that's also just treating your audience like smart. We don't need to know why spiders ride skeletons, but we can have a lot of cool ideas and theories and open up that discussion. And then maybe your idea is different than another person's. And so that gets you
Yeah.
both talking about it. And that's more fun to me than a spiritual successor to that, where it just is more definitive over why things are happening. Like I said, go play The Witcher 3. Great characters, beautiful game, cool RPG, and it's got a great story and great lore. But something like this, where he's like, maybe I'll hire someone, maybe I'll find a better writer, and then they can add lore. Good luck. You're adding a lot into the game.
I mean, if you really
Um,
want to, I mean, you got the money, you can do whatever you want, but
sure, yeah.
you gotta have the passion behind it to make it work. So
Hire Brandon Sanderson to write, a story for your RPG, but then you're
hire
gonna have
me,
to
I'll
sit
write
there.
it.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have to develop a game based around the story rather than the opposite.
That's fine. I'll write a story and he can just make a game around it
I mean, there you go.
for $1 million.
For one, you're selling yourself short. Come on.
You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Let's make it 2 million.
He's got the money. Yeah,
Because half that'll be taxed. So
yeah.
I
He's got the
want
money.
I want $1 million after tax
There we go.
in
That's better.
Swiss gold.
Swiss gold.
Okay, now hold on. Let's make our transition. I apologize for that sudden cutoff right there, but here's my explanation for that, folks. My brother and I talked for 2 hours straight, so I decided to go back and to split this in two, just because 2 hours is too long for somebody to listen in one sitting, and I thought it'd just be better to have two separate episodes. So I apologize for that abruptness, just it cutting off there. Don't worry. next Thursday, the other half of this show will be playing. I hope you all enjoyed listening to Sam and I discuss his artwork, what he's been doing for Realm News Flash, his depictions behind all that, his explanations, what got him motivated to make those. I found it all fascinating, and that's what makes him a special artist compared to many artists for podcasts. For cover designs and whatnot. He actually creates images with depth, meaning, thought behind them, and they make you think. They're thought-provoking, so I could ask for a better artist or brother. Now, and we also moved on there from his art and made the transition over to what I dubbed Notch's nonsense, and got into that just because I wanted to get his opinion on the matter. And next week, we will be doing the second half, like I said, and we will be talking about biome ideas and ideas that we think would be cool to be implemented in the game. It's purely, some of these could be easily done, I believe, by Mojang, and some of these are just far-fetched ideas, just straight out of our imagination. And it's really fun. And Sam and I are going to do another episode like that again. So I hope you all enjoyed that. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Happy crafting. The Dark Lord signing out. Hello, Realm News fans. I just wanted to pop back in here and just tell you all how much I appreciate you for listening to the show. It means the world to me you tune in every week to hear me. The Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in realm and expands your mind one block at a time. I am honored to be your host and to be able to deliver you weekly original Minecraft content with Realm News Flash and Realm News on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you enjoyed the show, I would love it if you would tell your friends about it and tell them to follow it. Hit that like button and leave a comment. I know that on Spotify you can leave comments on individual episodes. Same on Good Pods. I'm not sure about all the other podcast player platforms out there, but I appreciate the feedback. So please comment if you're able to. If you can't, wherever you listen to Realm News, then you can by following Realm News at either its Twitter, now X, Blue Sky, Reddit, or email, which is all found at bio.link/Realm News, all lowercase. Again, that is bio.link/Realm News. There, you can also become a Realm News Patreon member. Yes, I urge you all to sign up to the copper or diamond tier. There's also a free membership. If you can't afford to do copper or diamond, sign up for free. It won't hurt you. You're going to get free content, and it's just fun to be part of the Realm News community. Also, if you do sign up for the copper or diamond, you will be getting early access to episodes, bonus episodes, newsletters, ebooks. Yes, full ebooks that I'm writing. You'll be the first to get access to that right there in both those tiers. So that's a heck of a deal. Go check it out, and you're going to get so much more. I just started this Patreon, and so it's still under development. I still have huge plans for it. So sign up now while the prices are really good, and it's just going to be so much more content that's going to be added to those spaces, folks. And I think you'll all enjoy it. Let me know. I love the feedback, and I look forward to seeing you at the next Realm News. Happy crafting. The Dark Lord signing out.